Hello world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from, my name is MD90. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification to all so that you do not miss the uploads that come up. And the easiest way for you to navigate the channel is to head to the playlist. You'll find videos curated for you based on your interest. So if you're interested in the Kutika podcast, you'll find a playlist for that. For news and trends, there's a playlist for that. Exclusive with MD90, a bunch of playlists that are created based on your interest. So the easiest way to navigate the channel is head straight to the playlist and you'll find what you're here for. Consider becoming a member of the channel. Right next to the subscribe button is the join button. You click on the join button so that you can become a member of the channel. You support the team on the production and a number of things that we're doing here, and we appreciate that.
Well, the man of the moment is the Edgar Lungu family lawyer, the one that have appointed for their new appeal in South Africa. So as you may be aware, on Friday, the hearing for the appeal case that the Lungu family had submitted in the South African court was being heard. But the lawyer that you see on screen, who's the new lawyer for the Lungu family, pretty much asked for time from the court. It seems like they had a prior discussion with the judges and also the lawyer for the Zambian government, where they had said no, there's a possibility where the Lungu family and the Zambian government can have an outside court settlement prior to it being heard in court. So he in particular applied to say if the court could give him in particular more time and also give the discussion between the Zambian government through the Attorney General and the Lungu family to have the discussion over this weekend as of last Friday. And if anything does not play out very according to, if an agreement is not reached, then the presentation can be held on Monday, tomorrow at 10 hours. But since that Friday, the updates have been silent from the Patriotic Front. Updates have been silent from the Zambian government. There's no new development as of Friday. It's either the discussions are happening in the background and they are yielding results, or literally nothing has happened since then. But this is where you see the genius of the lawyer that you see on screen, because for him, it's an advantage. He would have used the last 48 hours as a way of studying the case of Edgar Lungu family for him to put up proper arguments on Monday, or indeed, they were having those discussions. So we wait and see how it plays out. But as of this broadcast, and we're just a few hours away from Monday itself, nothing has been updated. It's either they've agreed to say whatever they've decided between the Zambian government and the Lungu family will only be made public when they appear in court tomorrow, or literally nothing has happened since then. But obviously, stirring the conversation in the nation, everyone is weighing in. One of the arguments is that the Lungu family was complaining about, this was the argument that was happening on Twitter, which is now known as X. People are saying to say that lawyer is not a cheap lawyer, he's a very expensive lawyer. So then the argument that the Lungu family was putting across to say Edgar Lungu was having financial struggles in paying his medical bills in South Africa, not holding any water, because if they can afford this new lawyer that they've appointed, then on what grounds was that? So that conversation is being had on Twitter. So people are saying to say, top human rights lawyer joins ex-Zambian president Lungu case in Pretoria. And then someone responded to that to say, this is a top dollar lawyer responding to this, referring to the new Edgar Lungu lawyer, family lawyer. So this is a top dollar lawyer. I know I have previously posted on the need for foreclosure to the case of and moving on, but I can't help asking that talk of Edgar Lungu struggling with medical bills when he left Zambia was all about when he's paying this lawyer top dollar. So he's simply saying that argument does not hold any water, because that lawyer is definitely being paid serious money. He's not a cheap lawyer. So where are they getting the money? And then someone responded to that argument. It's just a back and forth between Zambians. It's a public discourse, as you expect. And then someone says, no, that's not the conversation here. The conversation is why were Edgar Lungu's benefits pretty much removed from him. And then there's another response to that to say he had gotten back into active politics. Obviously, that back and forth. Another person that weighed in is Chitufete Yadi on the issue. So this lawyer is very known for being in the constitutional court, and previously he had argued on a case from on the other side, and he put an argument saying that all sides are putting up points. So Chief Etayari, as you may be aware, is trying to get in the good books of President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND. So he's been on the UPND side since Edgar Chagalungu's death. So he put up to say, a family lawyer will have a difficult time to argue Edgar Chagalungu case based on his earlier arguments. And then he attaches the lawyer of, so you listen to the argument of the Edgar Chagalungu family lawyer, the one that they've appointed, when he was on the other side of the argument. So this is what he had put across, and what Chief Etayari was arguing to say. On what grounds is he going to argue? So stand by, let me play you a clip that Chief Etayari has found of the new lawyer, where he was arguing on the other side of this conversation in a different case, obviously. Stand by.
Justice Moleman, you cannot overturn a judgment because you disagree with the reasons. You can only overturn a judgment because the outcome is wrong. So you can write in the judgment that it's a salutary principle that judges must reason their judgments out. But you cannot say, I find that the judgment was wrong and therefore I'm overturning it because of the paucity of reasons. That is not the law. It is required that judges must provide reasons for their judgments. But the correctness of the judgment is what is before you. We're asking you to dismiss the appeal because whatever deficiencies can be identified in the reasons, that's not a basis to overturn a judgment.
So that's an argument he is putting across to say when he was fighting against an appeal case, those are the arguments he had to put across. So what is he going to say this time around? Anyway, let's wait and see. I mean, he has had 48 hours. If there are no discussions between the Zambian government and the Lungu family, he's been studying the case, and I'm pretty sure seems like both sides of the aisle are agreeing to say he's a very top tier lawyer, and I'm pretty sure this will be easy for him to argue. That's if he's allowed to bring in new arguments. Otherwise, if it's going to be best of the earlier presented arguments, then I don't know how that plays out. But I'm pretty sure I've got lawyers as subscribers here. You can advise how that plays out. Is he allowed to bring in new arguments, or it has to be based off the previous arguments that were presented by the lawyer that was fired by the Edgar Chagalungu family? So that's what's going on. Obviously, Chief Etayari weighs in, say a lawyer can be only as good as the case, but Edgar Chagalungu case is bad. So Chief Etayari is going hard, seriously trying to prove the point. So you go fine, yes. The argument to say the lawyer that they've hired this time around is a top tier lawyer and is very good, but the case of Edgar Chagalungu and the family is a bad case. So even if he's a very top tier lawyer, he cannot win it, and pretty much. So he says he's going to put up his arguments. I mean, at this point, let's just wait and see. I mean, we're just a few hours from Monday. But if there were discussions between government and they've reached an agreement, then we wait and see what is going to be announced in court. Obviously, they have to announce whether to say, no, this court case cannot proceed because we've come to an agreement. If not, then we wait and see how they argue it out tomorrow. But as of now, those discussions have not been made public. If they are taking place, all sides are silent about the matter. It might be an agreement that they've decided to say until they are in court, they can decide how that plays out. What is KBF, on the other hand? He's been posting a lot of pictures of him with Edgar Chagalungu. Pretty much, there's been a conversation in the grapevine to say there is a possibility that Edgar Chagalungu had picked KBF to be the next leader of the Patriotic Front, and he was going to receive his endorsement through the Tonse Alliance. That's one argument. So to say, you can even see in the comment section, most people are arguing that. But one thing about KBF, he seems not to be in good books with Given-Winder. And for him to get that loyalty that he demands from the Patriotic Front, Given-Winder is still, in as much as he's acting president, he's pretty much like the leader of the opposition, of the Patriotic Front in reality. The people seem to be loyal to him, and they follow his lead. So until they iron out whatever disagreements they might have, I don't see him getting that endorsement from the Patriotic Front. But KBF is smart enough to work around that. But from the look of things, that's the only impediment he's facing. he seems not to be in good books with Given Winder. Once he irons that out, I'm pretty sure once he gets that endorsement through the Patriotic Front, then taking over the Tonse Alliance leadership will be pretty straightforward. Let's wait and see how that plays out. So he put up a message as Christians, pretty much advocating for peace and unity in this trying time. But yeah, let's wait and see how that plays out. On the other hand, Dodika said to challenge Hakainde Hichilema, our business says, our business eyes State House in 2026. So late President Rupia Banda's niece will be contesting in 2026, and she says, I don't know if she's going to stand on an independent ticket or she's going to establish a political party. Those facts have not been communicated. All we know is that Rupia Banda's niece is contesting in 2026. And then the UPND had this to say, UPND is jogging alone on the playing field, but yet to know its real opponent. 11 minutes before the match, Patriotic Front PF is still in the changing room arguing on which jersey to use. For others, not sure whether they are preparing for this match or the next one. So the UPND simply says the opposition is non-existent at this point. It seems like only the UPND is ready for the 2026 elections because all the alliances pretty much seem distorted. They haven't chosen who's going to lead. And that's one thing you can laugh at the opposition. It's very inevitable. The truth is, of the matter is that until they pick a leader, they are simply wasting their time. That's a big elephant in the room. Until that is addressed, who's going to lead the Tonse Alliance, who's going to lead the Uka Alliance, they cannot wait to say, because every one of the people represented in those alliances as presidents, in their head, somewhat, they believe they're going to receive the endorsement from the other candidates as a presidential candidate. And then when they do not receive that, obviously they're going to break apart. So they might as well address that issue now. But anyway, they are free to drag it along. But that's the reality of the matter. It's like the same issue with the court case in South Africa. Everything else seems to be periphery. You can see the argument that Edgar Lungu's elder sister put up in court. The main issue that the family has is the attendance of President Hakainde Hichilema, or pretty much being next to the casket, as they say. And the Zambian government has argued to say, on what grounds are you disputing the sitting president Hakainde Hichilema from attending a state funeral of the late president? So it's that back and forth. Everything else they seem to have agreed on. They can make adjustments. It's that issue. Is the government willing to agree to say President Hakainde Hichilema doesn't attend? Or is the Lungu family willing to make adjustments to say, okay, fine, we've allowed the sitting president to come and be present in this state funeral? Otherwise, if that is not addressed in whatever agreements or discussions they're having in the background today, if any, that will not be sort out any issue. That's a big issue in reality. Same thing with the opposition. Until they pick a leader, those who fall off will fall off, they will go. Otherwise, holding it up until the final hour will simply bring up the inevitable, and they'll break up. And breaking up in the final hour before the elections, you can even tell where that's going. Hence the confidence from the UPND. They are simply saying they're the only people on the playing field and they're ready for the elections. The opposition is so confused pretty much. The mass newspaper will cut off your Katundu. Minister Mwamba warns that defilers they risk losing their things. So that's in the mass newspaper. Newsdigger say Hakainde Hichilema eulogizes Mwanawasa. He ruled with integrity and discipline. So there was a memorial service for the late President Mwanawasa with his wife. They did a uniform conjoined memorial service. That's for Maureen Mwanawasa and Levi Patrick Mwanawasa. Yesterday, where the president was present, President Hakainde Hichilema, where he put up that eulogy. And then NRC fraud syndicate bust. Immigration Department arrests 6 in a multi-district illegal operation. So some people are printing NRCs and giving them to foreigners, and that's what was bust by the Immigration Department. And then government launches $80 million Chipata solar plant. And then mass newspaper also says, we are in a crisis. Hakainde Hichilema does not know where he is taking us. That's Fred Membe there. And then why me in court? And then obviously a police list, Southerners are, I don't know what that word is there. Among his hardcore insults, or pretty much referring to Waimi's insults earlier on TikTok. And then President Hakainde Hichilema had this to say about his time in opposition, and that's the news, ladies and gentlemen.
During our opposition days, I used to be accused of being a Namibian, being a Muswana, being a South African, all sorts of things. It just shows that we are one. Our formations are one. So I'm sure you had not known about that your names are very Zambian. And you had a minister there, very strong man then in the early days called Hidipo Hamutenya. They thought actually he was from Southern Province. He had just crossed Southern Province of Zambia. He had just crossed it to go there. So this is how deeply connected we are. The things you said, I agree.